It's the Sports Lounge. It's the college football season preview, part one, August 13th, Lounge 227. Who won it, Charlie? Who won it 8 months ago?
I believe that would be the Clemson Tigers.
Very exciting. Clemson beat Alabama, so we start anew. And Nathan Stacken coming hot off the chute. We'll see if we can mess him up and make him look like an idiot here in just a few minutes. David Schottenkirk will be the blue box. I can see on the screen right there. Mr. Schottenkirk, your overview of the season. What would you... we're going to cover the ACC, the SEC, and the Big 12 today. Anything stick out to you? College football in general. A lot of teams have a chance. Just a couple teams have a chance. What's it looking like to you?
I would say there's 4 or 5 rather clear favorites. It's still a little bit, in a sense, open in a few different conferences. Some really good teams all bunched together. As I was totally wrong last year, I saw multiple teams go undefeated. Obviously, that didn't happen. So I'm going to try to reverse that trend this year and say the opposite. And say that I only see maybe 3 teams that have a legit path to undefeated seasons. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of teams run. I have one team in mind that I think has the best chance that we might get to today or in a couple of weeks. But it should be another good year. I'm excited. A lot of good teams and maybe a few new faces towards the top.
I like that Schottenkirk's taking what he did wrong and doing the opposite end.
That's what you're doing
with mine also. Mine's not in regards to undefeated teams, but on that note, I will spoil. I do not have a single undefeated team from any of the Power 5 conferences.
Look, I've not done the other conferences yet, but I've done these 3. And from what I've got a few surprises. And what I have, I might have a tough time picking the 4 playoff teams. This will be the 4th year of the playoff, and the first 3 years, it's been. I don't think anybody's had a beef. Guess my biggest one was what the hell? What is this? A Jackrabbit here? What do we got? There we go.
Yeah, Jackrabbit. Nice golf shirt.
Good.
Jake Winicky on this podcast now.
God damn it.
Yeah. Hey, I'm only 600 yards away from Cooper Kupp's all-time FCS record, which I should be able to get by the
week 2.
Now your audio just went away for no reason. In the middle of a sentence. Schottenkirk had the same trouble. I have to reboot Stacken. Audio problems. I guess the only playoff problem I've ever had in the 3 years was TCU and Baylor. I thought TCU should have been in the playoff over Ohio State. I believe that was my one gripe. Mr. Stacken.
Yes.
Back and better than ever. Back and better than ever, I see.
Good.
Very good. What are you looking forward to here? We got the SEC, we got the Big 12, we got your ACC. In general, are very excited. Earliest preview we've ever done. We're still a good 2 to 3 weeks away from the games. What's your overview of the college season? Again, no audio from you. Get it again. We'll do it again. God damn it, he says. Matumbo, no, he says. Charlie, did I get your thoughts at all?
Let's see. I think last year you could make a case the ACC was the best conference last year. The Big Ten I'm not saying the Big Ten's the best, but has made a lot of strides over the last 4 or 5 years. I think it'll be interesting to see in terms of conference supremacy, which probably doesn't matter nearly as much as we pretend it does. But if the SEC is going to kind of have the strike back year and have a big year, or if the other teams will continue to build and make it so. I think if you want to say the SEC going into the season is going to be the best conference each year, you're probably going to be right a lot of the time. But I feel like they've at least the other conferences caught up enough ground that you're not going into the year saying they're clearly better than everyone else and no one else is even close. That it's at least more interesting to start the year, and then it just depends how things play out during the season.
Stacken.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Well, I'm intrigued by what LSU can do under Ed Orgeron. I am intrigued by how bad Ole Miss is going to be without families, seeing what their phone bill is going to be like without calling any frosted lines. Alabama, they've reloaded, they're recharged. I got to think Nick Saban's going to remind his returning players about losing the national championship last year as a little extra motivation, though they really don't need it. Your Clemson squad, my Clemson squad, want to see how they come back this year off of a national championship. I think the ACC is going to be very good. You have 4 really high caliber teams, and then you have pretty much shit.
And then you have Virginia Tech. How dare I? Look at this guy throwing bombs. We're not even 5 minutes in. Throwing bombs.
And ACC has a returning Heisman Trophy winner. I don't think he's going to win it this year, but it's at least interesting to see. And I think he's got at least a better shot than some other guys.
Definitely.
But
I mean,
I don't Jason White did after winning in 03.
I don't know what Miami is going to do, but I know they're going to be better under Mark Richt. Florida State's got a lot of great guys. Mentioned Lamar Jackson coming back here with Louisville.
We've lost your audio for a third time. This is just tell you what. It's something else.
2 more strikes and take him out.
Well, he says no. I don't want to leave. Well, we always start with the SEC. Not this year. Not so fast.
That's my friends.
We're going to start. You win the national championship. We'll start with your conference. We'll start with the ACC this year. Charlie kind of hinted.
America's craftiest conference.
That is correct. The ACL, the ACLU, the ACC. I think, it's a real interesting. Charlie brought it up, and I wanted to start with that. SEC's been ruling the roost for many years, and I like the Big Ten's got 3 top 10 teams. Pac-12's got a couple of good teams at the top. I think the ACC is pretty deep. Schottenkirk, what say you? Is it actually worth the discussion for the first time? Because there was a lot of talk about, is the ACC the best? And coaches were saying that, and people were like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're out of your goddamn mind. But I look at it, I'm like, 1 through 6, 1 through 7. Is the ACC comparable this year?
Comparable, sure, but the narrative is getting a little out of hand. The SEC still is a powerhouse. If Bo Scarborough doesn't get hurt during the title game last year, we're not having this conversation.
Who?
Alabama won that game. Bo Scarborough got hurt in the title game.
Oh, yeah.
If he wouldn't have, they would have won that game and not convinced otherwise. It's very, very intriguing to talk about, but Nick Saban's Nick Saban. And until Alabama's not Alabama, I still think with them at the top, don't have 2 or 3 other teams ranked there. I still think it's them, but it's definitely a lot closer than it was, closer than it has been in a long time.
Well, I think the argument, though, has been that, Alabama's great, but the other SEC teams, especially
LSU,
last year, were not
Auburn
carrying their weight. Because I don't think anyone else finished with fewer than 4 losses.
Yeah.
I mean, except Alabama, who was fantastic. And I'm sure will be fantastic again this year.
Yeah, LSU, Auburn had kind of disappointing years, and the East has struggled for quite some time.
Let's put it this way. If Clemson was in the SEC West last year, they would have lost probably 3 games in conference.
They'd be the second best team in that conference.
Yeah, but they would have lost 3 times.
They would have lost to Alabama, even though they beat Alabama.
In that stage, it's a regular season game, and both teams are fully healthy. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Alabama lost Eddie Jackson in the SEC title game, All-American safety, right?
Okay.
Lost Bo Scarborough, health versus health. Not taking it away. The game happened. Deshaun Watson was great. Clemson was great. It was grand to see. But they were in that conference week after week, having to play LSU, Auburn, Alabama, Ole Miss. The hits keep coming. There's no cupcake in the ACC. Sorry.
I don't know if I buy that last year. I think any other year besides last year, you could talk me into that.
Clemson lost the
But outside of the SEC, outside of Bama, they weren't very good last year.
Clemson should have lost more games than they did last year, too. They got lucky
They
in
did.
multiple games. the big game, the NC State game. I know they turned it on late, but they were not. It was a national championship team. They won the title. There's no disputing that.
Yes.
But in my opinion, top to bottom, that season was one of the weaker champions we've had in a long time.
Stacken, are you here?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You've
Brought
already
to you by Diet Mountain
you've
Dew.
already changed coats.
I did.
Good.
Got to go into my Hokies here.
ACC Stacken, Virginia Tech. What do you think?
I believe that no,
Second year.
you're right. I really wish that, who is it, Gerard Evans, that he would have come back for another year. I wish Isaiah Ford would have come back for another year. Because I don't even believe Evans got drafted, if I recall correctly.
Bucky Hodges is his random guy's name?
Yeah. But having said that, I like all the recruits that they're getting in. I'm trying to remember now. I'm bringing up the Kansas quarterback who transferred there.
Oh my heavens! What are we doing with Kansas quarterbacks?
I know that's
Dog shit city there.
well, he wasn't that
Well-
bad last year, so
It worked for the two
Stop.
SEC teams that brought in Purdue quarterback.
Worked
So why
wonderfully.
wouldn't Tech bring in a
Worked
Kansas
wonderful.
Ryan Willis seems to be a bit of a dual threat. We know what Virginia Tech can do with dual threat quarterbacks.
What, he throws to his team and the other team, a dual threat?
What?
He throws to his team and the other team, a dual threat?
Yes.
He goes both ways?
Gives them points both ways. So yeah.
Well, good.
But I mean, we know with Michael Vick, and so I mean, I'm going to look at the ACC, whatever the fuck division they call it now.
The
these days.
Coastal.
The Coastal.
I'm
No, the
finally
Coastal.
starting to figure out these goddamn divisions. So it's good.
Stacking. I told you last year. Remember that the division with Florida State, Clemson, and Louisville is the better one. So they're the A1, while the A is in letter grade. And then the division that your Hokies are in, which at least the last few years hasn't been as good, is more like a C. So for Coastal.
That makes sense because I don't like A1 steak sauce. I'm a Heinz 57
Wow.
guy. So
Hot take city already.
So I'll take that. So I mean, I'm going to take Virginia Tech because I always do to win the Coastal. But I mean, Miami's going to be their toughest competition, and I believe Virginia Tech gets Miami this year. But I'm checking that here right now.
In Miami.
It is in Miami. You're right.
Although granted, there will only be 24,000 people there in attendance when they play.
Right. And West Virginia's going to be a tough. I'm looking forward to that game on Sunday, Labor Day weekend. I think that's going to be a great game from FedEx Field. But
Who plays there?
I will. What?
Who plays at FedEx Field?
West Virginia and Virginia Tech.
What team usually plays there?
The Washington Racists.
Okay.
So positively have to be there overnight at FedEx Field.
Good.
So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, I'm going to go with Virginia Tech, but if I had to look at it realistically, I would say Miami has probably just as good a shot as Virginia Tech does. But hopefully Justin Fuente, his recruits continue to do well, and I like the direction that the Hokies are headed in, as
Good.
they always, which is positive.
Have half the teams in this, about half the teams, Charlie, in this conference need quarterbacks. Clemson needs a quarterback. Miami, Vatech, Gatech, Pitt, and our guy Jack Trubisky left early for North Carolina. Big question marks for these 6 teams. Does this factor into your decision of how good you think they're going to be? Because you do not know how good their quarterbacks are going to be.
It does some. I mean, I think certainly it helps Florida State that they've got a returning starter at quarterback, and that may make a big difference in the Atlantic Division. And obviously, when you bring back Heisman Trophy winner like Louisville does, you're going to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Coastal Division, I think, will be pretty. I think that the Atlantic Division will be more interesting from a teams more likely to make the playoffs. But Coastal Division will be more interesting in that there will just be more teams vying with a chance to realistically win the division, and it will go later in the year. And certainly quarterback play, whether you have a returning starter or you find a guy in week 3, will play a big part in that.
In the past, David Schottenkirk has been a big supporter of Florida State. No different this year, I would assume. A lot of people picking them for the playoff. Can anybody challenge Florida State in this conference?
Challenge, absolutely. Are they the
Think so.
front runners? Yes, but it's not going to be easy.
All right.
You got a Heisman Trophy. You got Heisman Trophy winner in Clemson, the national champion in their division. I mean, nothing's easy about that. Games against Bowl. They have question marks. Are they part of the most talented team? Yeah, but as we've seen, it always doesn't matter. And injuries, obviously, I know injuries happen. They always will happen. Always have happened. But injuries will play a role in this division too.
Clemson plays Florida State at home also. So
There you
that's
go.
okay.
Exactly.
Yep.
Clemson.
At least, though, they get the U at home. And they also do have to go to Florida, and I expect Florida to win the SEC East this year and be much improved over last year. Though they did just suspend 7 for the opener against Michigan. So what the hell do I know then?
Well, you know that then. That's what you know.
Holy shit. MLB Network, there's a 6'5", 17-year-old that's 250 pounds pitching right now. This is insane. Not to throw that in for
What
you,
is this?
but Kumar Rocker, MLB Network. He's
We're not talking about that kid from Georgia in the Little League World Series.
What game is this?
50.
What game is this? 15-year? What is this?
This looks like a futures game.
According to my DVR guide, it says it's a high school baseball all-star game.
High school seniors.
6'5", 300-pound kid?
At 17, he's hucking up there at 96 miles an hour.
Yes. Sign him up.
Anyways, back to football.
We'll go back to Schottenkirk again. Coastal, there seems to be, and I maybe thought this way as well, there seems to be this, as I think you said, or Charlie or somebody said it, that, you got Florida State, Clemson, Louisville, one of those 3 teams is going to win that side. And the other side, there's this big parity and all this stuff like we think. But
Like, we can probably agree Virginia or Duke won't win the Coastal. You might be able
yes.
to make a case for any of the
Yes.
other 5, though.
GA-Tech and Va-Tech have won in 8 of 10 years. So is this a myth that this Coastal is up for grabs when 80% of the time it's one of these 2?
Maybe, but you look at it's going to be more, like Charlie said, it's going to be more interesting later in the year. You can't, in the Atlanta, you can right now write off Wake Forest, Boston College, and Syracuse. They are not winning that division.
Sure.
In the Coastal, you might be able to write off Virginia and Duke, but the other 5, if everything goes perfectly, I could see any of those results. I still think that Miami's the best team, but the official pick probably is Stack and Virginia Tech.
And I feel like you never know what Georgia Tech's going to do either. Like, I don't think any of us would be shocked if Georgia Tech went anywhere between 6-6 or 10-2.
Yeah.
Or 4 and 8.
The one other point I want to make about the ACC is that NC State, if they weren't in the division with Florida State, Clemson, and Louisville, I think NC State, if they were in the other division, would have a pretty decent shot at that 2 or 3 spot, and they could push. I think NC State's a pretty big sleeper this year. Unfortunately, they're not going to survive without several losses with their brutal schedule.
They got that defensive line. That's plenty good, though.
I didn't know Jacoby Brissett was coming back.
What a shot. Okay.
How about Phil Rivers?
Oh, shit. Forgot about him, too.
No, it's his kid that's starting for North Carolina State now. His 4th child.
Oh, I was going to ask, was it the first or the second child? It's the 4th. Okay.
4th.
Remember when Russell Wilson wasn't any good with North Carolina State and then he went to Wisconsin? Now he's great now? That was what happened right there. Miami, intrigued by Miami. Intrigued by Miami this year because they lost 3 games last year by 11 points. They were 9-4, 3 losses by very close, and every game they won by double digits. They won by at least 2 touchdowns. So that's very intriguing to me coming up. I've got them for 9-3. Charlie, what do you got Miami looking at this year?
I've got Miami going 10-2.
Oh, Miami.
Do you want their conference record, too, or are we going to wait until later
Sure.
who's winning the division?
I didn't say that.
I got them going 6-2 in conference.
Is that
Is
good?
it the right 6-2? We'll see.
Not quite sure. Miami, stacking. You think Miami can go tete-a-tete with Va-Tech? They have a match, Miami.
Sorry, I was just looking here. I was a little, Anyway, I would say 10-2 most likely. That sounds accurate. With losses to Virginia Tech and Florida State.
Are you discounting Bethune-Cookman right off the bat?
You know what? Last year, I think it was last year, didn't I go out on a very big tree limb and say that Appalachian State was going to beat Miami?
Yep.
Yeah, not really well, yeah.
I'm not going to make the same mistake here.
It looked good when they played Tennessee in week 1,
Yeah.
and it did not look good when they played Miami.
That's very true. I did almost have that one accurate for 3.5 quarters. I will not go out on the limb and say that the Red Wolves of Arkansas State will take down Miami this year.
How does
Miami
this happen again? At Arkansas State. How does this happen?
Miami doesn't get people to come to their games.
Because the Miami administration does not care about athletics, and that's the problem
Bad.
Miami's had for like 35 years. Is that like the coaches and the players care, but the other people, especially the people outside the athletic office, for some reason couldn't care less about Miami football.
No, I was looking at, because I went through the SEC and I got today and I was doing the record and everything. So I saw that Kentucky is going to Southern Miss, which to me doesn't make a whole. I mean that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But this makes even less sense for Miami to go to Arkansas State.
I totally disagree, by the way, the premise this team's going to play out of conference teams that are not are lesser opponents. It gives, sometimes if they have a team's less experience, or even if they are experienced, it gives them a true road game early in the season that they can draw back on when they do get in the conference. I absolutely love the idea of going to play a road game, which you're probably going to win, but it's still a very good experience for some of these players that haven't experienced a hostile environment before.
I wish more teams would do it. I'm just a little shocked that it seems like it's consistently Miami that's the one that's in it.
I'd say go big or GTFO. If you're going to play on the road, play someone that's not Arkansas State. Play somebody better on the road.
Old Dominion.
Because it selfishly, on my part, makes it more interesting for me to watch that. And I'm only looking out for myself now.
Good. I like it. Schottenkirk, sure asked this last year. Why did Bronco Mendenhall go to Virginia?
And the answer was last year, I have no fucking idea. And the answer is this year, I have no fucking idea.
What garbage.
It can't be worse than it was last year, and I think you'll get it righted a little bit. But it's still one of the bigger head scratchers the last several years.
Somehow they did almost beat Louisville last year.
Yeah, yep.
Disgusting. With Clemson, they had Taj Boyd, really good when we were on it 6-7 years ago. And they get Watson, terrific player. Charlie, if they're good again, does this mean then they can be a power year in and year out, a team that you just put in there with the Alabamas, with the Ohio States, with teams like that? You're like, all right, Clemson's going to be good here. They've been very good for 6-7 years. If they see how this quarterback does, they're loaded everywhere else, it seems. And if they're good for another 2-3 year stretch here, that's 10 solid years of double-digit wins, a national title appearance, big-time bowl games. Is this here the key point of, well, maybe they'll just be like a 9-win team, or are they going to be like that a team that can be in the top 10 every year?
Can I jump in real quick? Not
yes.
Just thunder, but they're already at that point, and I'm a gigantic believer in recruiting. They got the number 2 overall quarterback in this year's class and the number 1 overall quarterback in the next year's class that are either on campus this year or committed officially, not signed yet. But they're fine. They got quarterbacks. They've got top-ranked recruiting classes. They're already at that point where it's going to be a shock when they don't win 10 games in any given year moving forward.
I mostly agree. I wouldn't go quite as far as it's a shock if they don't win 10 games. I'd say like maybe 9, because it's easy to have like a sort of off year. Like you can be pretty good and win 9 games. But yeah, I mean, as long as Dabo's there and they recruit as well as they do, I think that good things are going to keep happening for them. And not just that, but like spend money on stuff too. Like a lot of programs don't like spending money on stuff because some don't have a lot of money. Like Clemson's paying like I don't remember how like $1.5 million a year for their defensive coordinator. And as long as you're doing stuff like that, it's easier to be good at football when you're doing that and you're recruiting well. They're doing those things. I think Clemson's going to be good. I don't have them winning the Atlantic Division, but I've got them going 10-2.
I have a team here we've not talked about, and I have a shirt of them. I do not have a hat of them. Their conference schedule I think is very easy. They've got 2 really tough non-conference games. If they can win one of them, that'd be pretty good.
This is Syracuse we're talking about?
Yeah, Syracuse.
They play LSU. Who's their other non-conference game?
No, I'm talking about Pitt. I'm talking about Pitt. No. You look at Pitt. Road games at Syracuse. Thumbs up. Road game at Duke. Yep. You do have to go to Gatech and Vatech, which are probably, that's not great. You have Miami at home. Tough non-conference at Penn State, and then Oklahoma State at home. Stacking, what do you think about Pitt?
You're just going to discount Bo Pelini?
Yes.
Oh, that's rough, man.
That is rough.
I don't know. I mean, you did lose senior quarterback, senior running back. Now, who were both pretty good. So I don't know if I can quite get on this Pitt bandwagon with you, but yeah, looking at their schedule, apart from the final 2 games, they're going to lose to Penn State. That I'm just saying that right now. Oklahoma State's really good. If they can get through those 2 games and win at least one of them, I kind of can agree with you that they could run the table up until the last 2 weeks of the regular season. But I don't think they're going to win either of those 2 games.
In addition to what Stacking said, they lost their quarterback, running back, and they also lost their offensive coordinator to LSU. I've got Pitt going 6-6.
And the biggest key of all, they got Max Brown at quarterback, so 6-6 is going to happen.
12-0. 12-0, folks. Get it done. Brandon Harris is going to North Carolina. That's not good. Is Schottenkirk, is he in the mix?
The mix of what? Is he the mixing drinks? What are we talking
To
about?
play?
Shake
I'm sure he's in the mix to play. But
How? How does somebody that bad?
North Carolina's going to take a step back, and regardless if he's not the guy, they're going to take a step back.
Like how?
But he's your new guy to rip on. I get it.
Like he's terrible.
It is a little bit odd. There's been several transfers of guys that have been middling at best to some of these programs. Oh yeah, he'll come here and be a lot better. Well, he usually doesn't work like that, but we'll see.
No, it's garbage.
I also have North Carolina going 6-6.
Garbage. All right, Mr. Stacking, let's go to the Coastal. Break it down here. Top couple teams. Who's winning the C division?
The C division. Well, I, of course, am going to lean towards Virginia Tech. I have them going 10-2. I have Miami going 10-2, but losing that game to Virginia Tech. Miami will also lose. Fuck it. I can't.
Fuck it, he says. He's a fucking Lee Corso.
Like sneezing. Don't sneeze in front of Stacking.
Fuck it.
Sorry, I know I have Miami down for 2 losses, losing to Florida State and to
Virginia Tech.
To Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, I think, is going to lose to Clemson, and
Gatech at Gatech. That's the game, folks.
that's a tough one too. But I will give. I've just got Virginia Tech winning the Coastal. That's all there is to it.
Keep it at that. At 10-2.
It's a battle between them and Miami.
All right, one Vatech vote. Let me mark it down in the old fucking thing. Charlie,
You can put me down for Virginia Tech every year. They could be 3-9 the previous year.
This
This
is
is,
the
this is the Chris Berman Buffalo Bills San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl. I got Virginia Tech
this
winning
is
the Coastal every year.
this is the rare honest moment that I love stacking.
I got it coming down. First and second in some order. I got Stacken's Hokies and the Hurricanes. Krenz is the U.
It's the U.
To a TV show in Britain.
Nobody said that yet. Yeah.
And Stacken, I got your Hokies.
Wow.
Clemson and Blacksburg.
Yep.
But I've also got them losing to East Carolina, Georgia Tech.
You know what?
I got Miami winning the division at 10-2, 6-2. Miami losing to Florida State and at Pitt in a weird game.
Good job.
You know what? East Carolina always gives the Hokies troubles. I hate this game. I hate that they schedule them every fucking year. But I will just say, you know what? Maybe this is a year that they don't.
And it's on the road at East Carolina.
I know that maybe this is the year they don't go to ECU and shit their pants. Maybe. I don't know.
Hard to say when the shit.
Hey, you know what though? East Carolina does not have Zay Jones, so that's very big.
Schottenkirk.
Coin flip between Virginia Tech and Miami. Begrudgingly, I say Virginia Tech, but it wouldn't surprise me either way. To pull one out of the stack and play it with
That's a stacking adage here.
Virginia Tech makes a lot of sense. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech.
I like it. The first real out on a limb pick so far.
I've got Georgia
It's
Tech.
not that far, but
I would say so, yeah. I got Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech at 10-2. I have Georgia Tech at 7-1. They're two. I think they can win. No, they're three big games. They're at Miami on a Thursday night. They host Virginia Tech. I think they can beat Virginia Tech at home.
Awesome.
And let's see, at Clemson. So I have them losing to Clemson. Those are the three games. When you go 2-1 right there, you're sitting pretty good. Even if you go 1-2, 6-2, I think puts you in the mix. I have them beating Tennessee at the beginning of the year because fuck Tennessee, and I do have them losing to Georgia at the end of the year at home.
I also have Georgia Tech beating Tennessee, but I've only got Georgia Tech going 7-5.
Yeah, that's
potential home game for the Yellow Jackets.
at the Atlanta deal.
I believe it's at the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
So Tech, surprise team, right there. Atlantic, Florida State with the sweep. I assume anybody not picking Florida State to win this conference.
I got Florida State going 11-1 with their only regular season loss to Alabama.
I ditto that statement. Stacking. Do you have anything different? 11-1 with an Alabama loss.
Nope, I would agree with that. And may I just say right now that I think that Alabama-Florida State is the most important game this year because I feel like the loser could almost be knocked out of title contention.
Whoa, here, friend.
It's a good loss. It's a good loss, but you can't afford another one. I guess that's what I mean by that statement. One team is going to be put in a hole where they have to be perfect the rest of the regular season to have a shot at the playoffs.
And they're probably going to be preseason number 1 and 2 for a reason. So obviously that's the case for both teams. That was established a couple months ago. But yeah, it's more important that Alabama wins that game than it is Florida State. Florida State can recover better, in my opinion.
They have an easier schedule.
It would be a little bit harder because there's potential not to get too deep. But Alabama needs to win that game more than Florida State does.
Don't want to get a quarterback controversy in Tuscaloosa.
Here we go.
Well, both quarterbacks can play that Hawaiian. That Hawaiian probably should start at some point this year, but we'll leave that to the SEC preview.
Everybody likes Florida State to win this conference outright, to beat the Vatex and the Miamis in this championship game? Yes.
Not so fast, my friend.
Oh, my heavens!
I got Miami losing the regular season battle to Florida State.
Wow.
And then for the first time in a while, we got a team.
Wow.
One team's got a chance at the playoffs. All they have to do is win, and then the other team steals it away from them.
You like Miami? What is their record?
I'm pouring gasoline on the Florida State-Miami rivalry.
What is Miami's record at the end of this thing?
At the end, they would be 11-2 and ACC champs.
And Florida State would also be 11-2.
Florida State would be 11-2, but not conference champions.
I'd like to see that. There we go. Miami, who's their quarterback? That's what I want to know. I want to see the quarterback. Is he good? Let's see, I didn't wear, let's see. Oh.
Spoiler alert on how the sausage is made. I actually had 5 one-loss teams. I was like, I don't know which one to leave out. And I was like, I'll just change it. And I'll have Florida State lose, and then I don't have to worry.
There we go.
Charlie, the first
If
thing.
you're wondering how I came up with that, it was literally convenience on my part.
Charlie, the first thing about sausage is it might taste good, but it tastes fine as long as you don't know how it's made. I don't want to know how you made it.
Touche.
There we go. We didn't talk Syracuse, but I got a hat, so I'll just say Syracuse. SEC we go. SEC
Real
we go.
quick, Syracuse, got them going 6-6, making a bowl.
Holy shit, look at that. Best team every year, Alabama. Got Florida State. Very exciting opening game. Best opening game we've had in a Coons age. To open up the new stadium in Atlanta. Talked about how the SEC last year, those 2nd through 5 teams were not great. Your LSUs, your Auburns, teams like that. Charlie, are they bouncing back this year? You got old ball coach, Coach O. You got a new quarterback at Auburn.
I've got Auburn bouncing back, LSU also finishing with a better record. I've got Georgia is better than before. Florida's the same. Tennessee's the same, if not worse. And then after that, I don't care. I've got Texas A&M starting not going 7-5, winning their bowl game to go 8-5 like they've done for the last 5 years. It seems like.
Schottenkirk, can my guy Butch Jones get fired?
If he wins 9 games again, probably not. But other than that, yeah, he probably will. They've been 9-4 the last 2 years. They were 7-6 before that. If he gets 9 again this year, he's fine. If they finish 8-5 or whatever, he's gone.
I have him 8-4.
And if they win the bowl game, he stays. If they lose the bowl game, he's done.
Gosh.
Just for fun, Corinne, do we have the same 4 losses? Georgia Tech, Florida, Georgia, and Alabama?
I have him losing to LSU and beating Georgia.
Okay.
One difference.
That makes sense.
I have them losing to Florida, Alabama, and LSU.
Beating both Georgia and Florida?
No, I have Tennessee losing to Florida, Alabama, and LSU.
Okay. Gotcha.
Another coach stacking that may be on the hot seat. Kevin Sumlin at A&M. Schottenkirk, if they win 9 games, Tennessee's good. What's Mr. Sumlin got to do in a much tougher division to keep his job?
Well,
Texas A&M.
you better start hot and stay hot.
They usually start well, and then once the conference season starts, that's when the losses come.
Well, I said start hot, stay hot.
I should say that.
Unfortunately, the SEC West is a bit of a difficult division. Who is their starting quarterback now again?
At A&M?
Yeah.
I don't know. They've had so many guys go there and transfer the last. I don't even remember who it is anymore.
I don't get so. We'll just
one guy's at TCU, one guy's at Oklahoma, and then I don't know who it's been since those guys left.
So I don't really have a good clue as to what A&M's going to do this year. So, I mean, they got a tough game right away at UCLA. That's going to put them in an early hole. I like Arkansas to maybe upend them. Certainly losing to Alabama. So I can see A&M going no better than 8-4 this year, but I have them at 7-5.
Schottenkirk, what say you? They got if they beat UCLA, can they possibly go 5-0 to start the year here against Alabama on October 7th?
If they beat UCLA, there's a possibility, but I still think even if they won that opener, I don't think they'd be undefeated by the time Alabama showed up anyways. I think they're 6-6 or 7-5, and someone's out the door.
I got them.
I've also got 7-5 and out the door.
I have them at 8-4. I have them losing that first one to UCLA. losing at Florida, losing against LSU, having beaten Auburn at home.
But let's put it this way: of all the interesting matchups of Week 1, the biggest surprise for me would be if Rosen didn't torch that defense for about 5 touchdowns.
Stacking.
Well, I've also.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Stack.
He has to worry about being a college student as well. He can't do both football and college.
Very tough.
So I don't know if 5 touchdowns that might be a little much.
Hey, you take one class at UCLA and come back to me.
Okay, I will.
Krenz mentioned something when we started about things that'll be interesting to see. One thing I forgot about is just, we've been talking about it, but which SEC coaches get fired, because there are more highly paid coaches in the SEC than any other conference. And if you're winning 10 games a year, you can justify paying a guy $3.5 or $4 million. But when you're going 6-6 or 7-5, it's really, really difficult. And I think at least 2, maybe even more coaches from the SEC are going to get fired. Nick Saban won't be one of them. He's not going to get fired because he's going to be really good again.
Might I interest you in Will Muschamp getting canned if South Carolina goes 4-8?
No.
Well, they're not going 4-8 with Jake Bentley. We can put that one to rest right now.
Okay.
They go 4-8. That's it.
Spoiler alert, I'm a very, very, very big believer in Jake Bentley.
Mark it down. Ray Bentley's kid finally getting a chance. Stacking. Malik Zaire is at Notre Dame. Is it his job to win?
Yeah. Why not? I mean, there's another. Isn't there another quarterback, like a freshman or something, waiting in the wings that I think could certainly do something? But I would say that Malik Zaire is probably your favorite.
Charlie, break the news.
Your case that Malik Zaire doesn't play at Notre Dame anymore. He's in Florida now.
Yeah.
It was a trap. It's a trap.
Okay. Now, you know what? That's why I was kind of thinking, like, I don't think he's playing there anymore.
It was a 50-50 shot either way. We got Stacking. So there we go. Do you think he's Florida, if they can get a quarterback, goddamn, they'd be pretty goddamn good. Will Greer was a guy. Now he's at West Virginia. Malik Zaire had some moments at Notre Dame.
Well, he kind of got hosed a little bit at Notre Dame, didn't he?
Well, him and
Got hurt against Virginia, and then I don't think he ever played much after that.
Right. Although I don't think he got a fair shot after the injury. I think he can do some
Well, to be fair, Deshaun Kaiser was pretty good.
Yes, he was. So good that the Cleveland Browns drafted him.
That's right. Florida, if they can just get a quarterback, I think they're maybe the second best team in this conference. Unfortunate for them, they got to play Michigan off the bat, and a boatload of players suspended, so not great for them.
But are the 7 players of any significance? How
One
much?
of them's their best player.
Wide receiver?
The guy who led him in receiving last year.
Okay.
It's kind of significant there, and a couple of stalwarts defensively.
I didn't see the list, so that's why I was just wondering how.
Spoiler alert: we would have got a big argument, but if those suspensions weren't announced today, I was going to say Florida by 2 scores, but that's not going to happen anymore.
You liked Florida over Michigan?
Yes, and spoiler alert: I'm not very high on Michigan at all this year.
Ooh, I like Michigan. I do like Michigan. Love me some Michigan. The East, you got the normal suspects: the Floridas, the Georgias, and the Tennessees. I think Florida wins it again. I would assume there are a couple folks here maybe that like Joji, because their quarterback hopefully is better this year. And they got 2 great running backs. Schottenkirk, who do you like in the East?
Top 4, Georgia wins, Florida 2nd, South Carolina's 3rd, Tennessee's 4th.
Shitting all over the Volunteers. My heavens. This quarterback, Eason? Is he going to be the real deal? Is he going to meet expectations? Is he going to be the guy everybody thinks he can be?
I don't think he was bad at last year by any stretch of the imagination. He wasn't as good as I made him out to be.
He's more consistent.
With more consistent, yes.
Yes.
And he still has elite
arm
talent. But with the other quarterbacks that will be getting a lot of attention, he might fly a little under the radar as a sophomore. But I still think by the time he's done at the end of next year, he'll be the top quarterback taking out the board in 20. 19, but that's a whole different issue.
And if we're honest, for a true freshman, I mean, he didn't play bad for a true freshman.
He was pretty fucking
If
good for a true
If he
freshman.
was a senior, you'd be disappointed. But yeah, for a kid right out of high school.
Charlie,
I've also got Georgia winning the East. I get Georgia at 10-2, 7-1 in conference, but with a loss at Notre Dame.
ooh,
Florida, I got going 9-3, losing to Georgia. Tennessee at 8-4. Butch Jones getting fired.
good. Stacking.
I
Maybe a sweep? What do you think here? I like Florida.
I'm flipping between Florida and Georgia. Right now, I have Florida losing to Georgia, both having them at 9-3. So I guess then by default, I would have Georgia in the SEC championship game. I don't really like that. It's between Florida and Georgia. I think Florida's going to be much better this year, especially offensively than they were last year. But those 7 suspensions that comes into effect against Michigan, tough out. I'll just say Georgia right now with Georgia.
I like Florida. I like them to lose their first game. I like them to lose their last game. I like them to win every game between that. I like them to run the table in the conference. They play LSU and A&M are their 2 crossover games. They're both at home. I think they beat those teams. Tennessee is at home. I think they beat Tennessee. They're at Kentucky. They're at Missouri. They're at South Carolina. I think they beat those teams. They have 3 road games this year. So that sets up pretty well for them. I think Florida wins the East. So there you go. On the West side, Charlie, LSU. Seems like they've disappointed recently. That's why they have a new coach. They got BYU to start things off. They're at Alabama this year. They're at Florida. How long do you see Coach O lasting here?
I'm going to say 4 years.
4 years.
That they will be fairly good this year, and then things will get progressively worse. I got LSU 9-3, third in the division. Like, not fantastic, great, but I feel like 9-3. You would at least think they're starting to go in the right direction. I should put it this way. I don't think he's going to be there for like 8 years. I think his LSU tenure though will be better than his Ole Miss tenure, and he'll at least win some games, and there will be times you'll think that they'll be good. And I think they'll be good this year. I just don't think they're not going to. I've got them losing to Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee.
There we go. Stacking, your thoughts on Coach O? If you want to do the voice, you can.
I'm going to try it as best I can. I cannot do it justice like Mr. Marcus Traxler, but I believe Coach O is going to buy a Hummer. We're going to get some beignets. We're going to eat a bunch of beignets. We're going to go 11-1 this year. On Walpin, Alabama.
You got him going 11-1?
Got going 11-1.
Is that right?
So you've got Darius, guys, rushing for 2,200 yards.
Coach O, we're going to go buy Hummers for everyone. Going 11-1, losing Alabama. Alabama going to the SEC West Championship, and we're going to be fuck this about that. But
Did I hear a fuck in there? Was that a fuck?
Do you seriously have LSU going 11-1?
Yeah, I picked them as 11-1. Yep, only lost to Alabama.
Okay.
Wow.
If the schedule was different, I'd be on 4, but there's no way in hell they're going 11-1.
What do you got them going?
9-3 and begrudgingly, they might be 8-4.
What, Alabama, Florida, and who? Or somebody else? Tennessee, whatever?
Tennessee, home game against Auburn, home game against Arkansas. It's not easy. Well, especially with Danny Allen as your fucking quarterback.
Cool.
Echo's back.
The
Here
echo.
we go, Auburn.
Let's go, folks. Are we ready for Auburn? Jared.
Hold on. How many years has it been since they last played in a title? Is this Krenz calling his shot ahead of time like he's done twice?
Auburn has Jared Stidham as a quarterback.
Uh-oh.
Stacking.
Hey, before you continue this, remember when I was on Stidham at Baylor and you shit on him right away?
No.
Okay.
I know you like it. Yeah, he's. Well, I mean, you have to be.
It's better than Sean White and Last Chance U.
you'd have to be a Big Ten quarterback not to do well at Baylor. So there you go. We have Auburn winning at LSU, so that means something for Mr. Schottenkirk as Stacken goes away. I always talk about you got LSU, you got Florida, you have all these teams with these great defenses, and they can never find a quarterback. You need to be an average quarterback, and you can do very well. Schottenkirk, what do you have Auburn doing with your guy, Jared Stidham?
They're losing at Clemson week 2. I think that's going to be a tight game. They've got a legit shot to win there, I firmly believe. Missouri is their first conference road game. Should be a win. The stretch that bothers me is 3 in a row at LSU, at Arkansas, at A&M. That's pretty brutal, and they come out of that and they play Georgia and Alabama at the end of the season.
The toughest 5 games any team's going to face.
Yeah, 5
in the
out
country?
Of 6 there, that's pretty, 5 out of 6, that's pretty brutal. But that said, I think they're going to find a way to get to 9-3.
I as well have them at 9-3, stacking. We always talk about just can these teams get a quarterback, and it looks like Jared Stidham, if he can be a guy, they'd have to change up their offense a little bit here and not run this option and run the ball like they have been in past years. Maybe throw it a little bit more at Auburn, and they have Jared Stidham there. Again, a brutal schedule, possibly the toughest schedule in the country. Your Auburn thoughts?
I have them at 8-4.
8-4. Okay.
With that apple.
What was that?
Losses.
At
There's an
Clemson.
echo.
There's an echo. It's raining again. It's rained so much. The rain.
So, I have losses at Clemson, at LSU, at Arkansas, and at A&M.
You like Arkansas?
I mean, I might just give them a shot. But we'll see what Arkansas can do. So I could see Auburn going 9-3, 9-3 or 8-4 is what I have them though.
I think Charlie. Quarterback going to make a big
Auburn
difference.
Beating Alabama.
Holy shit! Me too.
But I've got them going 9-3 with losses to Clemson, LSU, and Arkansas. I've still got Alabama winning the division, but I got them going 9-3. I think maybe I should put it this way. I don't think they'll be the best team in the SEC. They might be like one of the 2 or 3 most fun teams to watch, though. I think they will be entertaining to watch because, kind of like you said. I think Alabama will find ways to score because they're really talented. I think Auburn will be good at scoring. I think a lot of other teams in the conference will struggle to consistently put points on the board.
Any thoughts on these garbage teams here, Charlie? Any thoughts on the Old Misses, on the Missouris?
Ole Miss, I got stealing Notre Dame's 4-8. Yeah, Missouri, I got going 5-7. Vanderbilt 5-7. Arkansas and Burt, I got going 6-6. Good chance Burt gets canned.
Oh, get betting Burt.
Oh, I think he's got a big buyout. I don't know what his buyout is. If his buyout's high enough, he might last either way. But 6-6 for Arkansas.
Schottenkirk hitting me up on some cock talk. Why do you like cocks?
Jake Bentley, simple as that. Well, it's not quite as simple as that, but Jake Bentley's a gigantic reason. The other reason is they're getting their defensive captain and the leader that missed all of last season after leading them in tackles for 3 years in a row, his freshman, sophomore, junior years. He'll be back and hopefully healthy this year. Sky Moore, one of the better linebackers in the country. The schedule's not easy, but there's ways there. I'm not a must-champ guy, but with a quarterback like they have some offensive weapons. I think they'll find a way to 8 wins, maybe even 9 wins.
Wow. I've got them at 5.
I also have 5.
Who are the 7 losses?
All the teams.
All the teams.
Well, I have them beating.
NC State, Kentucky, A&M, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, Clemson.
Okay, I'll.
For Kentucky, I get you. If you're pro South Carolina, you're not going to like the Kentucky one.
I mean,
I feel like the other ones are all at least realistic.
Right.
Like Georgia, Clemson, Florida, Tennessee. That's 4. I mean, that's the 4 best teams they play.
I think they're beating either Georgia or Florida.
Okay. And they're at A&M, which isn't great.
That's not easy. So the only guaranteed loss, or semi-guaranteed loss, guaranteed, is Clemson. They're not beating Clemson. Theoretically, in my opinion, they could win every other game. They're not going to.
Well,
at Tennessee, at Georgia, at Florida, whatever. That's why I said 8-4, 9-3. I know they'll stumble in a couple other places. NC State in the opener does scare me too because I'm high on NC State. But I don't think it'll be a shock, at least in my opinion, that they do win 8 or 9 games.
Here's what.
I understand what you're saying. I think more than anything, I've got South Carolina just not being lucky.
Because
they're just not. But I've just got them not winning those toss-up games.
And trust me, if it goes south and Muschamp gets shit canned, I'll be as happy as anybody.
Yeah, the biggest thing is it's not their quarterback. It's more anti-Will Muschamp.
You want to show me something, South Carolina?
No.
Start 4-0. Start 4-0, then I'll do something.
That's certainly possible, but they also could start 2-2 in my old theory.
That wouldn't be great. That wouldn't be great. What do you like here in the East? What we picked, everybody likes Georgia except me. In the West, we all like Alabama. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Anybody have Alabama undefeated? I would guess no. I have them
I got them
losing.
in one loss.
Me and Charlie have them losing at Auburn.
I flipped the coin. I have the same thing. I have only lost to Auburn.
Stack, and you as well have them
I-
losing to Auburn.
Yep, I do.
Any other double-digit win?
Now I don't feel great that all 4
All
of us have them losing to Auburn.
We have them going undefeated against Auburn last week of the year. Any other double-digit win teams? I have LSU at 10 wins, and I have Florida at 10 wins.
I think
Georgia's my only other double-digit win team.
Who?
I got 3 others with 9, but Georgia with 10.
Okay.
I also have Georgia winning 10.
I have LSU with 11, and I have 4 others with 9 wins.
So this is kind of what we're talking about as far as the SEC's not as. I mean, they've got 2 double-digit win teams.
But okay. Think about this though.
They all play each other.
If there's 2 double-digit win teams and there's like 5 other 8 or 9 win
Pretty
teams,
good.
it's really good because they're beating each other.
Yes. We forgot to mention, error on my part, Louisville. I've got Louisville going 11-1, losing to Florida State.
I've got 9-3 for Louisville.
I have Louisville 9-3 and actually finishing 4th because I've got NC State beating.
Holy help me!
So I've got Louisville losing to Clemson, NC State, and Florida State. When they're not playing those 3 other ACC teams, they're pretty good. But losing those 3.
I haven't got the record yet for Louisville.
They're 11-1, stacking. Believe me, 11-1.
Okay.
Yeah, they've
My
got.
sadistic prediction of the year is that Lamar Jackson gets hurt early in the year.
I would feel bad for them if that happened. That would suck for everybody, unless I guess the Kentucky fans might like it. But yeah,
I've had a bad feeling about this year for months already, but we'll see.
well, you think about it. Most guys, if they win the Heisman Trophy and they come back, none of them are ever like, oh, and then I was even better the next year. So
Can you imagine though if he is even better, how much fun it would be to watch?
it would be fun.
They do
Hopefully
have.
their offensive line's better.
They do have Clemson at home. If they beat Clemson at home, I like them
Yeah,
to be.
that's true.
I like them to be
That's
7-0. If they beat Clemson at home week 3, I like them to be 7-0 at Florida State. And they just murdered Florida State.
So Krenz has got Florida State, Louisville being like the biggest, well, other
Pretty
than
much.
maybe Florida State, Alabama, week 1. You've got Florida State, Louisville being the biggest game of the season at that point in time because they're both undefeated.
I mean,
Never mind. You've got Florida State with 1 loss,
who do
needing
you
to win, and Louisville needing to win the
who
division.
what do you have them losing at North Carolina State? I mean,
Yes.
is that it? Then Clemson,
For me,
Florida.
yeah.
I've got Clemson, NC State, and Florida. Florida State.
Yeah, I've got Florida State and Louisville at 11-1. I've not come up with my playoff yet. Florida State would be in the playoff. Alabama's going to be there. That I know. Besides that, I have a Big Ten team, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Louisville at 11-1, losing to Florida State, it would be either 1 or 2 in the country. That's do they get in the playoff then or not? Probably not. I mean, they wouldn't have any other great.
I mean, Ohio State got in without winning their division or conference last year, so it could happen. It depends on who else is making a case.
Like you look at this Louisville schedule, and it is a dog shit of a schedule. It is not hard at all.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't have their whole schedule written down. I just have written down who they lose to.
I mean, they got
But
Clemson and
that,
Florida State.
I remember looking through that, and it was like, ooh, there's a lot of bad teams.
Like, it's not. I mean, you look.
Kentucky, your toughest non-conference game.
Like after Florida State, you've got Wake, Virginia, and Syracuse. Fuck, we've got 4 bye weeks in a row here. I mean, that is not.
Yeah, it's awfully soft.
So
I guess I didn't realize how soft it was late.
I mean, you've got Kent State and Murray State back-to-back at the end of September. You got Purdue. You're playing Purdue. Heavens. I mean, that's the only thing. Even if they go like 11-1, which they're going to have to do, they just wouldn't have any good wins besides Clemson. So that would be the penalty against them. Finally, we go to the Big 12. Stacking, we got a Big 12 title game, something you go to on an annual basis.
Yes.
Good move by this conference to have another game at the end of the year between 2 of their best teams.
Are they doing the 2 best? I guess, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no divisions. So.
Right. So yeah, good for them. I'm most intrigued by Oklahoma, just because of, I mean, Bob Stoops leaving, Lincoln Riley stepping in. So I'm not foreseeing Oklahoma doing much of anything. I think Tom Herman is still here.
Texas.
Did I say Houston? I meant Texas.
You said Oklahoma, but whatever.
You don't like Oklahoma this year.
I don't think they're going to be
really.
Like, they're going to be good, but they aren't going to be.
They're not winning the conference.
No.
Okay.
I think it's honestly going to be Oklahoma State.
Okay.
God damn it, son of a! Now I got to change my son of a bitch.
3 of us have Oklahoma State.
Spoiler alert: I haven't got the playoff yet, but right now, if I had to give one, Oklahoma State would be my first team out of the playoff.
Winning the conference.
Winning the conference and being number 5 and being left out of the playoff.
Beating Oklahoma, at least one. Who knows? Maybe Texas is ruling the race.
I mean, I see Oklahoma with 3 losses. Ohio State, Oklahoma State, and then either Texas or West Virginia.
Oklahoma's losing to Kansas State this year. Mark it down.
Okay, but
I also have Oklahoma losing to Kansas State.
That's totally fine. I think West Virginia is certainly a team to watch out for as well. But overall, I would say Oklahoma State's the team to beat in the conference this year. Like I was going to say, Tom Herman with Texas is going to be probably a year or 2 away from being truly in contention for the conference. So they are certainly a team to watch out for. But I think this is Oklahoma State's to lose this year. The mullet strikes back.
Oklahoma State.
Time he turned 50. He's a man. He's 50.
He's a grandman. He's a grandpa. He's 50. Oklahoma State quarterback Mason Rudolph is back. Receiver James Washington is back.
Got over 1,000 yards receiving last year.
In one game. Hard to believe.
It was more than one game, but he was pretty good. And they also have 1,000-yard rushing return.
Offense not an issue for this team or this conference. I think we've talked about a new Clemson. I don't know if we want to. Seems like
No, I'm saying no right now.
Reasons why a no on new Clemson.
Well, if you're insinuating that Oklahoma State's the new Clemson, I'm going to say no. If you're going someplace else, I might listen. And
I don't think it's like they're going to be Clemson. I think he means like.
Well, no, just they're. I mean,
Okay.
they're not going to become a. Yeah, we're looking for a team that obviously Clemson. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, they're not. Yeah, good team, 10 wins. Once in a while they'll make a big bowl game. Never been to the big one. 1-2
Simply,
losses
you're
away.
saying it's Bull Durham, and we're Susan Sarandon picking the minor league
Sure.
player to push and get him over the hump here.
Is there another team out there, Charlie?
And by over the hump, I mean I
That's right.
win a national title in a few years, but I think they could have a stretch of a few years where it's pretty fun to watch them.
And like Oklahoma State, this might be. I mean, this might be their best shot. Maybe next year, not so much. Meanwhile, Clemson was a steady build, and they just continued to get better. Mr. Stacken, your thoughts?
Well, I was going to say, we were talking about Miami having to go to Arkansas State this year. Oklahoma State has to go face the Jaguars of South Alabama. Just
Don't sleep.
that seems
Don't sleep
that
on the
seems more
Jags.
absurd than Miami
No.
having to go visit the Red Wolves.
USA Stacken. USA.
USA.
Get it done.
But I like your point, Crins, that Oklahoma. I mean, I don't think Oklahoma's going to be terrible or anything, but losing your head coach and mayor or whatever to a guy who's never been a head coach, in addition to also lost. I mean, like at a school that's known for having great running backs. Like I'm not saying Mixon or Pirine were either the best in Oklahoma history, but they were both really, really, really good, and would be good for us to replace. And like I think Texas will be better. I don't think Texas is going to win. I don't have them winning 10 games this year. So if you have Oklahoma and Texas not being great, it seems in Oklahoma State's like basically returning almost their entire offense. It sets up for them to potentially have a pretty good year in conference.
We'll decide on this in 2 weeks. So mullet over. Oklahoma State.
Funny. Pun intended?
What?
You said mullet over.
No, mole, not mullet. Well, close enough. Yeah, you caught me there.
That mull it over.
Mullet over, folks. If you have another team you want to bring to the table, again, these are teams that if they've won, they haven't won in a long, long time. So that's the criteria there. What I do like is that we were 3 conferences deep. You all 3 like one team. I like another. So that's fun.
Crin's not taking Oklahoma State.
I think Oklahoma runs the table, loses to Ohio State, and they beat everybody else because
So basically, you've got
always do.
Oklahoma doing the same thing as last year, except
Yes.
they don't play Houston.
and I mean they got Baker Mayfield.
Their schedule's much tougher this year, but outside of Ohio State.
Um,
Kansas State's going to be a preseason top 20 team, much better. Texas will be improved. Oklahoma State. I get where you're coming from. They got loads of talent. I'm a big believer in Lincoln Riley long term, but I don't think they're going to get off to that hot a start with him this year.
only game I'm concerned about at Oklahoma State at Kansas State, and
They're going to get beat by 3 scores at Ohio State this year.
that's fine. That's fine. And then Oklahoma, though, everybody, I've learned my lesson these last couple of years. Will say Oklahoma is dead, and then here it comes. First week in November, Oklahoma. No, I guess they're in the mix.
And then they'll find a way to lose another game in November.
That'd be fine with
At
me.
least for Oklahoma, they do have Baker Mayfield, who is a Heisman Trophy candidate this year.
And we
Baker Mayfield's getting arrested at some point this year.
That's fine.
prediction.
I like it.
Charlie.
And, I think Oklahoma's still going to be good. I just have them going 9-3 with the 3 teams we mentioned, losing all on the road to Ohio State, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State.
What different Stoops? Stoops is out. Very surprising. Lincoln Riley, hot shit. He's in there. On the field, where does it show up on the field?
It's the schedule for me. If Bob Stoops is still coaching, I'd still have him going 9-3.
Okay.
This coach for me makes no difference this year.
They're
It's the schedule.
They play the 3 best teams they're going to play. You think are all on the road?
Yes,
Well, there you go.
absolutely. And that's the only reason why I have them going 9-3. They could be easily be 10-2, but I don't think they'd be 11-1. They're losing at Ohio State, and they're losing for sure either at Kansas State or at Oklahoma State.
Okay, so you all like Oklahoma State. Charlie, what's tripping up Oklahoma State here, if anything?
I have Oklahoma State losing at Texas, and that's their only loss. I don't have Texas as being fantastic, but at least after 3 straight 7-loss seasons, haven't made a bowl game back-to-back years. I've got Texas going 8-4, losing to Schottenkirk's Trojans, losing a weird game to Iowa State, and then losing to Oklahoma and TCU.
Who's losing Iowa State?
I got Texas losing to Iowa State.
Again?
6-6 and making a bowl game.
Texas at 6-6. Boots is rolling over in his trailer.
Texas is going 8-4.
Oh, okay.
I've got Iowa State going 6-6.
What?
But one of their 6 wins is over Texas.
I've got Iowa State at 2-10. I've got Kansas at 1-11.
Not a believer in the year 2 bump for a coach.
I always take Northern Iowa when they play Iowa and Iowa State. I always take Northern Iowa. This year, no difference. So yeah, Kansas, not good, not great. Schottenkirk, Tom Herman's there at Texas. Seems to me he's an offensive coach. It seems to me the problem was the defense. So talk me up some Texas defense, which somehow got worse under Charlie Strong every year.
Texas is one of those teams that, for me, could have the most variance of record this year. I mean, I could see 8 or 9 wins. I could, but I could also see them going south and being 5-7. Or the USC game. As a USC
Get their
fan,
ass kicked.
It scares me more than it probably should.
Where's it at? Where's it at?
Rationale here. Week 2, USC plays Stanford. A very, very, very physical team. They're going to come back. Texas can be hyped for that game. In the Coliseum, Texas is fast. Texas has a system that's a little bit quirky. USC's D, while it should be a lot better than it has not been great the last couple of years. After getting beat up by Stanford, win or lose in that game, it's a whole different ballgame. I think USC wins, but it's going to be a very competitive game. And long term, I love Tom Herman at Texas. It's not going to start glowingly this year. I think they win 7 or 8 games.
Yeah, I don't think either of them are going to win the conference this year, but like 3 years from now, I think Oklahoma and Texas are both going to be happy with their young head coaches.
And let's put it this way, if it all goes to plan, they're going to be playing just like they have been for the last 50 years. They're going to be clearly number 1 and 2, and there won't be any difference at all. And they'll both be vying for playoff berths when they play each other in the shootout. And the Big 12 title game is the dumbest fucking thing ever.
You do not like it?
No.
I don't like it either, but maybe for different reasons than Schottenkirk.
The reason I don't like it is, I think the reason they went back to it is because they wanted one last chance to showcase their best team, potentially, or their 2 best teams. But it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if you're putting your best team up against your second best team, or that best team has a chance to make the playoff, you're putting that in peril by making them have to win another game. And yes, it can work the other way. If you have like an 11-1 team play another really good team that year and beat them, it could potentially inflate their playoff chances, but it's awfully dicey.
My reason against it, again, is selfish on my part. I don't like rematches. And in a 10-team conference, you're guaranteed to get a rematch in a conference title game. Yeah. And I just generally am like, I already saw him play. I don't need to see him play a second time.
What say you, Mr. Stacken? A Big 12 conference title game? We're kicking it old school 2010 style.
I don't have a problem with it, but you might want to get more than 10 teams in your conference here or do it division-wise, get some divisions, but I'm okay with it. Obviously, it hasn't really worked out for the Big 12 to not have a championship game because they haven't gotten in the playoff at all. So if
Oklahoma did 2 years ago. They made it once.
Oh, that's true. Yep, I'm sorry. You're right. But for the most part, the narrative has been out there that not having a title game has hurt their chances overall. So we'll try it. We'll see what happens. So I'm fine with it. But I mean, if it doesn't help them, then don't go back to it. I would look at trying to add other teams to help improve your conference versus, but that's beside the point.
The problem, though, is that like all the good teams to take are already in other conferences with better TV deals and more secure finances than the Big 12.
The Mountain West?
Or at least the teams they'd want to take. I mean, you could take teams from the Mountain West, but taking teams from the Mountain West, like, they might help you a little bit win-loss wise, but they're not gonna help you like the other conferences in realignment,
Right.
poaching other Power 5 schools.
I like it because, as you said, they've missed the playoffs 2 out of 3 years. So it's going to give somebody another top 10 win in a conference where there's not any top 10 teams. So if one, Oklahoma State, you'd want somebody to run the table or at most have one loss. Let me lay this out for Schottenkirk. Ohio State got in the playoff as a 4 seed, and they won the whole thing. I didn't think they should be in. If the Big 12 would have had TCU versus Baylor that year, they both had one loss. Does the winner of that championship game, is that enough to get them in over Ohio State, another top 5 win, or not? That year.
I don't think so.
You
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Oh, well,
I don't know. It's a good question. It's tough to say.
if one team would have impressively won against the other team, yes, but if it was a tight game one way or the other, I don't think it was.
Well, the first game, I think, may have been the game of the year, TCU and Baylor.
Right.
Huge comeback for Baylor, and TCU shit the bed. And if they win that game, they're probably in over Ohio State.
Correct.
But they didn't. So, and if those two teams play again,
Who knows?
who knows?
It's like I said. That's what I was saying. It's a double-edged sword because it can go great and it can fuck.
And then in the end, they didn't make it anyway, so it could not have hurt them. It could not have hurt them. So who
I'm
knows?
going to hit the road here after I give you my official Big 12 title game prediction.
What do we have here?
Oklahoma State versus Kansas State. Oklahoma State wins.
Okay. Nathan Stacken. Nathan Stacken.
Oh, yes, sorry. I don't, again, I was vastly unprepared, so I do apologize here.
Are you on mushrooms?
Yes. We're playing Mario, so Mario got a few too many mushrooms. Looking at it here, I don't know why I'm buying into West Virginia so much, but it seems like they're always kind of a team that can do
Are they
some
the new
damage
Clemson?
and is kind of, they kind of are forgotten a little bit here.
Bring back the coal jobs. We need some more coal.
We do. So I can see them losing to Virginia Tech. I mean, I have Oklahoma State winning it regardless, but if I were to throw out another team in there, I might say West Virginia. Why the hell not?
West Virginia conference title game.
Yeah.
I have West Virginia going 6-6.
Okay, and like I said, I have no idea. I am vastly unprepared.
You've
I
never
should
heard.
say, there's some teams that I know more stuff about. I don't know a great deal about West
They
Virginia.
have Will Greer, who was very good at Florida, who, if he was still at Florida, I think would be awfully good.
Guy.
So Will Greer, after a year and a half off at West Virginia, who I think will be very good. I have West Virginia at 7-5, but they just play Oklahoma State, teams like that. So, Charlie, you want to make a clean sweep? How about them Cowboys?
I have the exact same one as Schottenkirk. Oklahoma State, Kansas State. Oklahoma State beating Bill Snyder and the Wildcats the second time. That goes back.
What makes Kansas?
Senior quarterback playmakers all over the field of offense. A very good quarterback. The defensive player of the year as a freshman. That's back. Should be better this year. Eckler's about to be great. And Bill Snyder having a throat cancer. I think it's going to be a big rally point for the team this year.
That goes back again.
Again.
And they have a transfer wide receiver.
Kansas State as the third team in this conference. I have Oklahoma beating Oklahoma State. Does Oklahoma get in the playoff? I don't know yet.
If Oklahoma beats Oklahoma State twice, goes to 12-1, they're probably in.
Probably in. That's it. This year seems like more than any other year, there's going to be a team out of the playoff, and hopefully and maybe that triggers the first. Well, there should be 8 teams in. So good or bad there.
I don't know if this matters. I've got Kansas State and Oklahoma both going 7-2 in conference, and I just have Kansas State winning over Oklahoma. So if that would go the other way, I would then have Oklahoma finishing second. So I've got that as a tight race.
Kind of like TCU in the middle of the deal here. You got some terrible teams. Baylor, I've got them at 2-7. That's 5-7, and maybe they win more.
I also have Baylor at 5-7.
Please don't let them be bowl bound this year.
Bowl bound or not?
It's the return, the game that everyone talks about. It's coming back.
Does anybody have Kansas winning a conference game?
Nope.
Me neither. I'm going 0-9. I have Texas Tech second worst in the conference.
Ooh.
4-8 overall, 2-7 in conference. Maybe old hot guy Cliff Kingsbury possibly gets fired.
You know what? I might give them a conference win against Baylor.
Kansas.
Yep.
I
will say their ceiling is 3-9 with wins against SEMO, Central Michigan,
SEMO.
and Baylor.
Cape Girardeau.
SEMO.
I mean, I just look at Oklahoma State. Part of the reason why they're in that Clemson discussion is because they always let you down, like Clemson used to do. And I just look at games. I look at Oklahoma State at Pitt. I look at Texas Tech, games they should win. I look at Texas, at West Virginia in back-to-back weeks. I have Oklahoma State going 11-1 and losing to Oklahoma. But I look at all these games, and it's just like I could see Oklahoma State, same team that kind of lost to Central Michigan last year at home, shitting the bed again, whether it's at Pitt, at Texas, at West Virginia. So there we go.
Could happen. Stacken and I are hoping that experienced offense and senior quarterback
Very
alleviates some
exciting
of
team.
those issues.
Very exciting. Any other thoughts? SEC, ACC, Big 12.
I got a couple independents and mid-major stuff.
We'll save it for
Do
next.
that
We'll
now
save it for
or
next time.
week.
Next time. Next no show next week. In 2 weeks, we've got the Big 10 with 3 top 10 teams. We have the Pac-12 with 2 top 10 teams, and we have everybody else and your Heisman Trophy winners and your Big 6 bowl game and playoff participants.
Spoiler alert for next week, I don't have Purdue finishing last in the Big 10 West.
Oh heavens! Get on board.
I do have Rutgers finishing last in the East.
Well, there you go. Good. Well, one final point. Rutgers coach went to Baylor, Matt Rule. Again, like Bronco Mendenhall, seems like he probably could have.
Temple, not Rutgers, but
Yeah, Temple.
very close.
Yeah,
Hey,
no, that's not
Philadelphia,
close at all.
New York,
That's not
they're
close at
similar.
all. One's good and one's bad. Temple
Both
to
used be in
Baylor.
the Big East, that sucked.
It seems like you could have done a whole. Why would you want to go to Baylor? I mean, this does not seem like a
I
program
think he had
on this.
back-to-back, like 10-win seasons and won the conference last year, I think. Maybe it was the year before. But
Temple's
yeah,
been good.
you could have gotten a better job than Baylor. Like Baylor and Ole Miss, I think, are going to be shitty for a while now.
Stack and you.
And if you're like some guy who it's like, oh no, I'm 57, I'm like running out of time to be a head coach, like I could kind of see it then, but that's not the case for Matt Rule. So I don't know.
All right.
Like even if you really didn't like it at Temple, it's still kind of like, you still probably could have found a better job this year than Baylor.
Okay, this is a couple weeks ago. Stacken brought up this point, comparing Ole Miss and Baylor. He said, which team would you rather be going forward? I picked one team. He picked the other. Charlie, what say you? Which team
Are
would
we
you rather
talking
be?
like win-loss wise, or the way like it looks
Next,
to be associated with that school?
next, just win-loss wise, next 5 or 10 years, what team should be better? Or what team would you rather be? All right, we can maybe get back to what we were, or we cannot be dog shit forever.
I don't think this team's going to be as. I don't think Baylor's going to be as good as they were under Art Briles, but I would still pick Baylor just because they're not in the SEC West, and I think for as long as Nick Saban's there, you're going to get slaughtered. And I mean, I think Ole Miss, with like taking away sanctions and stuff like that, is probably a better job than Mississippi State, but it's maybe worse than every other school in the division. Or at least if you're Baylor, you can be like, yeah, we should be able to beat Iowa State and Kansas and maybe Texas Tech also. So I don't know. I would say Baylor. But if we want to go like which one would I want to be associated, I would rather be associated with Ole Miss than Baylor.
But the one thing with Baylor is that they didn't do shit until Art Briles came there and transformed that university. So if they have a few bad years, it's going to take, I think, another coach like Briles without the court, like in terms of like an offensive mindset, to return Baylor back to the conscientious mind of a college football fan. Whereas Ole Miss will always be around there, and they can still get the good recruits. However, the downside is that they will have to take on Alabama and LSU year after year.
Well, the bright side, Baylor can get guys also. I mean, you can get skill guys that are like within 300 miles of your school in Baylor.
can.
I mean, they don't have to leave the state if they don't want to.
And a lot of them won't because they'll be in jail for many years. So they'll stay in Texas for a long
That's
time.
true.
I ended up picking Baylor because they're in an easier conference.
Yeah,
Then-
that's what it boiled down to me. Is I would rather be the fourth worst team in the Big Ten than the SEC.
But Nick Saban ain't gonna last forever.
No, but I mean that's true. But even then, like
LSU,
Auburn and
Auburn,
LSU and Texas A&M,
stuff.
just over the last 60 years, are just almost always better than Ole Miss.
It is quite amazing that Ole Miss and Mississippi State did what they did for a year or two. Like they're number one in the country. That is very.
Just for fun, what's everyone have Mississippi State going? I have them going 6-6, making a bowl game. Dan Mullen won't get fired, and they're not finishing last in the division.
I have Mississippi State going 6-6 too, and this team to me is probably the most intriguing team in the SEC, just because
The
I
most.
really like.
They do at least have a quarterback. That's something.
In Nick Fitzgerald, correct?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's his name.
Yeah.
I don't have anything in front of me. I'm like 90% sure that's his name.
I mean, he's a dual threat quarterback. Again, I like the dual
You
threats.
do like them.
I do. Virginia Tech's known for him. So at least Mississippi State
Are
has
they?
that quarterback.
Oh yeah, they got Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Vick, Michael Vick,
Yep.
Jim Drunkenmiller, of course, noted drunkard.
I haven't thought about him in a long time.
Logan
I like
Thomas,
the Jim Miller trend.
best third stringer in football.
Best quarterback playing, or the best tight end playing quarterback
Yeah.
ever.
There you go.
I mean, could you look at the SEC quarterbacks in the SEC West and say that Nick Fitzgerald might be the best of the bunch there?
This maybe isn't fair to
I'd
say
put him
it this
third.
way, but I think that since Jalen Hurts at Alabama is just surrounded by so many other good players, that he maybe isn't as good, but it's gonna be easier for him to look good because if he screws up, his defense can bail him out. His offensive line's gonna be like at worst the 7th best offensive line in the whole country. They're always going to have playmakers at receiver, and he's always going to have a running back that can run for 1,400 yards if he stays healthy.
Agreed. I mean, Jalen Hurts is great. He has more talent around him.
Woo!
Bless you. But
Also,
that doesn't always necessarily. I mean, he can get bailed out by his team if he makes a mistake, or he's got better playmakers. Nick Fitzgerald essentially had to do it all last year for Mississippi State. I don't think we were looking at this squad last year saying, "Oh, they're going to be a bowl team." I mean, after Dak Prescott left, and now all of a sudden
they shouldn't have been. They went 5-7, but they got that APR bid.
Yep. So I just think Mississippi State could throw a wrench in a lot of games this year, in large part, or if not exclusively, all because of Fitzgerald.
I also think Prince's guy, Jarrett Stidham's going to look pretty good at Baylor under Gus Malzahn this year.
You mean Auburn?
Or yeah, Auburn. I said Baylor, didn't I? I meant Auburn. Yeah. Sorry, I said his former school, not his current school.
I'm very excited. I like my Auburns. I like my LSUs. And very excited for that. Stacking.
Yes.
Very
Are we still
disappointed.
taping this? We still recording this?
Nope. Very disappointed that the Schottenkirk is not here to talk about the Stars of Golf, another star-studded event with such stars as Francisco Molinari threatening. Justin Thomas wins the PGA Championship. Thoughts on Justin Thomas, the heir to the Wendy's fortune?
He's a guy who's been around a lot this year, who I think we've started to pick up his name a little bit more, who certainly I think can help. He's going to be a guy who's going to stick around tour for a long time and win a lot of titles. I don't necessarily know if they're going to be majors, but he's going to win a lot of golf tournaments. He's very talented. He's only 24 years old. Ian Spieth, I think, seem to be pretty close from what I can see. But I think his putt on 10 is going to be one of those, and maybe it's probably more a prisoner of the moment situation right now. But if we're thinking, we remember Tiger Woods and that chip shot he made on a.
What happened? Because I saw he had a chip. He had a chip somewhere that got closer. What the hell happened here?
It was a putt on 10 that just, I don't know how it didn't drop right away, but he just stood there, and it was about 7 or 8 seconds, and then it finally fell in.
Okay,
so, and that is, I think, and they said it on the broadcast too, and I totally agreed with it because I was already thinking the same thing, that it kind of was going to be that moment that would propel him to a victory. Now, Matsuyama kind of shit the bed a little bit there. Down the stretch, he shot a 1-over. I know he was in the lead for part of the round before falling back a little bit. So to wrap it all together, put a bow on it, I do think Justin Thomas is a name that people will start to recognize more and more. I don't think I can put him in the Spieth, McIlroy realm at all. I still think Jordan, when he's on his game, is the best golfer out there. But Justin Thomas is a guy who will, be in there with the Ricky Fowlers, those types of stars that you know about in golf. But he's not going to be a guy that can transcend it.
Spieth and McIlroy are also both one major away from a career Grand Slam. So
correct. You're right.
So I'm just agreeing with what you're saying. That he's
Charlie.
not at that level yet. He would need to win more majors.
Is Charlie?
Yeah.
Is it unfair to say that Justin Thomas Pearl Harbored Matsuyama or not?
I think it's fair. I probably wouldn't put it as the headline in a newspaper,
especially now with the current political state going on right now. Let's not talk about bombing anymore.
But it is clever, and it made me laugh.
Drew Amon's Corner. He said that Justin Thomas is going to have a better career than Jordan Spieth.
What the hell? That's ridiculous.
I saw that and thought it was a little surprising.
A bit absurd.
I mean, it could happen. There's a ways to go. Spieth is looked quite good up to this point in his young career. I mean, Thomas has been good too, but not to the same degree.
Hindsight being 2020, we know what happened last year when I boldly predicted Appalachian State would beat Miami.
They were driving multiple times. They had turnovers. It was close. Can we hear Schottenkirk?
What's up?
I have one question for you. I invited you back. We are taping. I have one question for you. What will happen first? Lamar Jackson season ender or North Korea bomb?
Lamar Jackson injury, thankfully, not for him, but for the country.
There we go. You heard it here first. Get in your bunkers.
But Lamar Jackson so loved the United States that he tore his knee up.
Get prepared, Stacken. Get a bunker.
Fortunately, no. I'm just not going to say anything about it until we're off air. Just can't say it.
No, we're off air. Let's go. Okay.
No, we are
Sports
not
Lounge.
off
What
air
was
right
this?
now.
This was 227. The odometer is getting high. We'll be off next week. The Twins are in the playoff hunt. Goddamn, look at these sons of bitches go. Minnesota Twins. Fat Bart pitching Tuesday. I'm excited about it. Winners of 8 of 9. The baseball, folks.
Cy Young. And they should have won Saturday night. They should have
Very
won Saturday night.
disgusting loss. A goddamn
If they wouldn't have
disgusting
given
loss.
up like 11 or 12 runs, maybe they would have won.
Dog shit of a bullpen. The rest of the week, very good. Cleveland and Arizona this week, tough teams. I'll take a 3-3 week. We're back in 2 weeks. We're preempted next week because of the dog show. We'll be back in 2/28. We'll be previewing the rest of the football on the Sports Lounge. Nathan Stacken is having a kid.